What if instead of pushing our own agenda, we just allow God to pull us closer to Him? Hello, my love. Welcome to another episode of Made for Impact. And I feel like the impact that I will be sharing with you was so deeply personal for me. I realized today, looking back, that a lot of times we are trying to push our own timeline on God. We are trying to push our own agenda. We think that we know when is the perfect time of conceiving. We know when is the perfect time of launching a book. We think that we know the perfect time when to go to places. And listen, I know we have a free will, but as I'm looking back, all the times that I wanted something and it didn't work out, and then I see the reason why, it was because God has His hand on it. Like, even for me, right now, I'm in such a beautiful creative space. I feel creative with so many ideas and so many things what I want to be serving with. But if you would have asked me just a couple weeks ago, not even months ago, but a couple weeks ago, what am I working on? I would say, like, I don't know, nursing my little ones. But the thing is that in the past, I tried to push so much. How am I going to be attracting my clients? When am I going to be moving? How am I going to be living? When am I going to get pregnant? I feel like even with our first pregnancy, I was pushing the timelines, and I just sat down with my husband. I look at the calendar. I was like, okay, we're hosting retreat here. I'm going to be launching course here. So this is the window that we have to get pregnant. And I was pushing it. And every month it was so nerve-wracking if I'm pregnant or not. And we got pregnant fairly quickly in just like 2 months, like second month trying. And I don't even like the word trying. It's like calling in the baby. But the thing is that pregnancy and in miscarriage with our twins, and it was 2 separate miscarriages, and that led me into depression. And honestly, that was also the time when my husband grew closer to God, when he started to read Bible, when he started to go to Bible study, when he started to surround himself with Christian men. And so for me, it was a dark period. But my husband, in the darkness, he found the light. For me, I was just depressed. And when he told me, why don't you talk to God? I was so angry. How could you even suggest that? Like, why would God take away my babies? Because we were so excited to get pregnant, and it was early miscarriage. I was only a couple months pregnant. But still, like, every day felt so joyful for me to know that I'm pregnant and there's life growing in me. And now looking back, I see how I was pushing my own agenda and my own plan, and how God had planned something even better. Like, looking now at my beautiful, healthy, almost 3-year-old baby girl. And everything that just fall into the place. Like, when we got pregnant before the first time, we were living in Mexico. I was still deeply in New Age. I was hosting retreats, and there was just like so much performance involved and so much to keep up with that it would be really hard for me to keep up with the same style of lifestyle and same style of business when I actually had babies. So I see that God just redirected it. So what if instead of pushing our own agenda, we just allow God to pull us closer to Him? Because I see it now when I actually allowed God pull me closer to Him. As you can read in James 4:8, draw close to God and God will draw close to you. That's what I keep reminding myself. And that was my first favorite verse. And that was the first verse that I memorized, because I feel like if everything else fail, God won't. He has unfailing love for us, and He is unchanging. And that unchanging character was so hard for me to understand, because I feel like my whole life, everything was unpredictable. My stepfather's behavior, my mom, who was 1 minute happy and 1 minute sad or just upset. And it was just really hard to feel safe in my environment. Everything kept changing. And I feel like I kept with it. I kept moving countries and moving places and changing relationships. And so drawing now closer to God and letting Him pull me closer, I'm deeply praying that my babies will feel that their home is safe and stable and filled with love. And listen, I'm not perfect at all. I'm working on it, on my patience, on a fruit of patience and kindness, especially with my babies, especially with my almost 3 year old who is changing her decisions every 3 seconds. And honestly, like, even yesterday, when she was refusing to nap, she was just laying on me and I was just like petting her face, caressing her face. And I was praying out loud, God, please help me. Be here with me. Be here when I am feeling overwhelmed and frustrated. Help my daughter to relax. And I just invite God into everything. And then I started to see His hand in everything, because I started to see how He was changing the heart for my husband to do the work he's doing now. And he's feeling so on purpose. How He was trying to help me with my pregnancy so I can actually enjoy them and have two beautiful, healthy babies that I can stay home with while I am doing my discipleship and ministry. But there is no pressure of earning money. There's no pressure of making five or multiple five-figure months. Those numbers are so insignificant to me right now. Even when my whole life, I knew I was always writing poetry and I used to write in local newsletter in Czech Republic. I always knew there is a book inside of me. And even when people were asking me, are you going to write a book? And funny thing, for my 42nd birthday now in April, one of my friends who know me here in the United States for 14 years, she's from the same country like me, from Czech Republic, Pavlina, she gave me a candle that says, I smell a published author. And I was laughing. I was like, yeah, one day. But last week, the Holy Spirit just moved something within me. My husband was struggling with something personal. And when we sat down to talk about it, I was frustrated and I was just feeling impatient. And I was wondering why God just doesn't intervene quickly. And then as we were talking, I started to come up with ideas of creative solutions. And that's where really God unlocked that huge creativity in me. And I started to start writing a book. And I'm already 9 chapters in, and I am just so grateful for all this creativity and Holy Spirit led writing, because my whole life I'm like, I want to write a book, but I don't know what about. And I didn't need to know what about. It was what God was writing in me my whole life. And this is the book that I wish that somebody would hand at me 10 years ago. It would save me so many tears, so much energy, just so much money. And it would bring me closer to God so much faster. It would give me what I was searching for without even knowing. So this book is being born not because I'm pushing anything, but because I allowed God to pull me closer to Him. So ask yourself, where in your life you get to allow God to draw you, pull you closer, and where you get to stop pushing your own ideas and your own planning and agenda. I'm not saying planning is bad. I'm not saying that being ambitious is bad. I'm just saying that if you're pushing through your mind and your flesh, it's never going to be as great and magnificent as it can be when you allow God to pull you closer and work through you.